Damn it, Cypher, I'm not pooping. All right, it's about that time. What's up, everyone? What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone had a fantastic and chill Sunday. Get that good recoup time in. I'm all for grinding, but you know what? Sundays, I try to make those a nice chill out day. Grinding 6 out of the 7 days is pretty good. Not gonna lie to you. Oh yeah. Rocking them orange jocos. Alright. I realized as I was watching the timer tick down, I was like, dang it, I didn't boot up the Try Hack Me machine. So I got this booting up, and then what we'll do is we'll pop over here to LangGraph and we'll run this sucker. So let's get that prepped up for Stinger. There's Stinger. So we need to wait for the IP address to come up. We'll populate it over in here and then we'll hit this thing. See, there we go. 10.10.99.5. That's not it. 99.5. All right, so let's go throw this in here so we can get ourselves a fresh set of copy data. And you know what? Before I forget, let's just restart the VPN. I am really excited because I'm hoping this works. I'm not expecting it to, but I'm hopeful. Just because there's a ton of moving parts in here. All right, we got that going. We already got a new thread. Let's drop this in, and we'll let the initial testing data get gathered in here. That's right. We're going to pray this works, Cypher. I'm actually really not expecting it. The issue we ran into last night was, let me pull up that trace to remind myself. What's it doing with Python exec in here? Let's see. Oh, that's right. The issue we ran into was the machine timed out in here. We ran out of time for it. Oh, because you're here, it's going to work this time. You're going to bring the machine res and force it to work. Gotcha. Invoices in the mail? Okay. I do net 30 billing. Don't expect a check anytime soon. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Back up to Stinger. It's now over in the enum agent. Enum shouldn't take it very long, and then once it hits exploit, we can actually get the first, this will be the first data pass where we'll see if it works. And so we can actually start getting feedback on like what's working and what's not here in just a second. And after that very, very long day at the lake yesterday, I didn't do anything today. I chilled out, spent some time with the kids, took them to a playground, and that was about it. Had a really chill Sunday. I'm gonna do a fun stream tomorrow night. I'm gonna see if I can get Salty on to play maybe a little Helldivers or some other game. I don't know, but I haven't got to play with Salty in a while, and I thought that would be a good thing to go do. So we'll do a little bit of gaming, and then we'll do like a hacking AMA. Anybody's got questions, you can pop in and ask. I have to actually work on my gaming setup because I haven't played a video game in several months now. All right, cool. We're down in the exploitation agent. Let's see if we can watch this actually. All right, looks like we aired out, which is fine because actually there was one thing we do need to go update. We need to go update the get PHP web shell because we need to return the path to the web shell instead of returning the contents of it. So we had a different idea about that in the past. Let me see what the actual error that got thrown is though. Let's see. Let's see. Agent to call. Okay. So what's happening here is it's saying, hey, there's no key for our list of special agents called special agent caller. So we've extracted the wrong key out of the dictionary, but that's fine. That is a simple fix. However, we do need to go, before we do that, let's go address the robo pages config real fast. So, let's see here. Robo pages. Let's see, offensive, and then web shells, or PHP web shell. So what we want to do is actually, that should have worked just fine. Because see what this should do is echo this back out. When it returns it, this should be the path to the PHP, to the DiceCo web shell. We should be good there. Let's see if we actually called that tool real quick. Let's come down here. It did not. It's still returning the contents of it. Oh, you know what I bet? I bet the RoboPages server has been running for so long like this that it didn't refresh the page. So, because it will upload all the pages into memory to cache them. And so we actually have to restart the server to get it up and running. I bet that was the issue. Because I noticed it's already fixed right here. I have to go play with this a little bit more too. Well, I'm going to leave this open because we're going to have to tinker with it. Okay, so the problem here is, let's go run through this trace again real quick. So we get to the exploit step router. And we got a ton of input. Yep. What's our output though? So it's right down there, exploit step processor. Okay, so it hit the special agent node, and that's where we got the error to it. So it is getting to the special agent node, that's fine. But one thing we're going to need to do is figure out, I got to look on the structure here. Because right here, agent to call, apparently this is not the last one. I don't think we actually need the name of it. The tool call, we need the args out of this. So let's go look at this real quick. So what was the tool we actually called? There we go. Dude, though, look, it actually is coming back. Nice. We got browser agent back here. Oh, it's gonna be good. This is going. Okay. The kicker here, I just realized though, is how's the browser agent going to know where? That's all right. One step at a time. One step at a time. So we are getting browser agent. I think the problem here is not the name key, it's the args right here. So if we look in the tool calls, let me see if I can see the raw definition for the tool call here. Output, raw output. Yep, that's it. So what we want is, we want args and then name. Because right now what we're getting is, we get the 0 element from it, right? What are you blinking for? Stop. Let's see. Here we go. So we got the name out, but the problem is we actually need an args in front of that. So just a little bit different definition here. So we'll drop that bad mamma jamma right there. But the good news is, let's double check our pickle is up to date. So if we look at data pickle, yep, it was updated just now. So we should be good. So what we can do now is, we pop back over here, we can just run the exploitation agent all by itself. Ooh, that is UGLY ugly. Let's throw some of these over here. There's our revisor. And our validator, we're gonna throw you right there. There we go. It mostly laid out correctly. So this is the main loop we're gonna follow here anyway. The validator will get hit because it's gonna look at the host and it's just gonna check and see does it have an initial access payload. But that's fine. This is actually, we're gonna hit everything here. We shouldn't hit any of these other nodes over here Unless everything gets completed successfully and we actually hit the end node, which would be very nice. All right, so let's run this sucker. Okay, so in the step processor, we hit another error. Let's see what we got there. It's so close. It's so close. Yep. So what do we get returned here? Where's our output? Let's see. I need to save a PHP file named shell.php. I don't have a specific PHP code you want to save. This one actually came up with... Yeah, so we got the data back. However, for some reason, what was our steps in this? Let's go back a little. So let's look at task 5 in here and see what our steps are. Actually, we can just look at the output from the step planner right here. So we have it create a PHP web shell with the command execution capabilities, yada yada. Save the web shell to a file called shell.php, access and upload the upload form at here. Okay, for some reason, I don't know why it threw this in here, but that seemed to completely throw it off. The prompts are not optimized in here, but that's fine. So this should be something a little bit different that we're going to get. We're going to just run it again. It's not fully robust in here. And once we go through and we add a little bit extra error checking to this, if it ran into a situation like that, like what do, I don't know what to do, it would actually bubble back up to the operator, and the operator would be able to say, this is what I want you to do to provide clarification. You better not have gotten the same error. I'm gonna be pissed. Hey, Stan, thank you for coming online, man. By the way, did you guys hear the dial-up? Is it still busted? Because anytime someone follows, it's supposed to be playing a dial-up. Oh, what did we get here? Let's see. It looks like it tried to run it. Let's see. No synchronous function provided to browser. What? Really? Either initialize with a synchronous function or invoke via the async API. Do we need to actually run that with the async API? Hold on, let's go look at our agents real quick. See it running. Oh, maybe we need to do a tiny bit more checking with this then. Let's see, so when we called this, we're just calling it directly. We're calling the invoke right here. So this was the first attempt at passing execution over to that. We could also try a invoke, but we need to await it. The problem is, I believe if we do that, this may not be the most efficient way to actually invoke the subgraph in here. we might actually have to go through and pass it off with either a command argument or something different. Let me check something in Stinger real quick. Because in Stinger, that's how we pass off what we're going to be going to. However, the problem is these are kind of explicitly set up whenever we initialize it. So either we have to change how the workflow initializes, where this becomes procedural instead of static, over for the exploitation agent. In which case, we'd actually have to do it for all of them, which I really hope that's not the case. But if we're past the graph object, let's look at this error a wee bit more. So for some reason, why is it wanting to do this as an A invoke instead? Let's just try running it again. See if we get the same error. So I've swapped this to an asynchronous invoke, which will be interesting because I'm not awaiting it over here. I don't think it's actually quite gonna run. Let's go see what happens. It's trying so hard though. It's trying to get the execution over to the browser graph. It's trying. It's doing something crazy here. Yeah, it's gonna fail right there. Do it again. The steps it came up with, for some reason, were just crazy. It's trying too hard to use the web shell. So eventually what we'll have to do is we'll have to go manipulate the prompt and say like, hey, by the way, you can just, we have tools available. Don't go make your own tool, if at all possible. Okay, so it looks like, I think we got a different error for this one. Let's go see. Yeah, it looks like it didn't like that. No synchronous function provided to browser. It's saying over here there's no synchronous function provided to it. Wait, was that the error? Also, was it that there was no synchronous function? I thought last time it said there was no asynchronous function. Did I read it wrong? Let's see. Oh, it was saying there was no synchronous function with the async API. Okay. So this is fine. The problem is in our agent a bit. So let's see, where are we actually hitting this problem? Let's see, tracing this down. All these are in the site packages though. There we go. So an exploit step special agent node, where we call this. So for chunk and self stream. Okay. So the problem is, it says we have no synchronous function provided to browser. So I'm guessing that is up here, right? From here, we come to persistent agent browser. This was our simulated execution here. In which case, we always had to await these. We did this. Go look at the execute task here. Yeah, that's it. That was definitely defined as an async. Okay. I think we can actually just convert this to an async as well. And I believe LangGraph will auto-magically handle it for us. Which case we need to await this and switch it to an A invoke. I think that will work. See if that will do it. Come on, little exploit agent, you can do it. I can't believe it is trying to create the PHP web shell by using a Python exec every single time. It's like, you're killing me. You have a function to get the PHP web shell. You don't even need the contents. Okay, dude, actually, this is good though. See that? This is in the browser. This is an agents.py. So we did successfully, just by converting this to an async function and using the async invoke, we've actually did pass execution over to the agent. Nice. All right, but now we got an error over here in line 21. So let's go look at 21. I think the problem here is I think we have to extend the stinger stake object. Will we do this in here? Let's see. Wait, where was that error? Oh, in browser wrapper. Correction, that's in agents. That is right here. What was the error that it gave up here? Key error persistent tools. Oh, yeah. I don't think we put that into the stinger state. Or maybe there's a typo in it. Hold on. It's there though. See that? It's there. Yeah, I thought maybe I just had spelled it wrong. No, nothing there. Actually, I'm curious to know how this appears over in our trace real fast. So we go to special agent node, then we get a LangGraph wrapper, and then we get the browser in here. So the input looks good though. See this? This is the entire state table is coming into it. But it's saying there's a key error saying there's no persistent tools. Hold on, let's look at what gets passed over to our special agent node here. Post task. We should have a lot more than that. Where's the messages key? Well, I mean, there's messages right there. Post task, current task. We have current task, context, which context I don't think ever even gets used. They did not pass it because persistence tools wasn't. It hasn't been used yet. Why would it say that it doesn't exist? Because it is there in the state table, and it was there when we populated this pickle. Come on. Come on. So close. Let me try this over here. So we're in the exploit step processor. Calls it. Hey, that's what's up, man. This is how I, as a C developer, feel every single time having a Python bug. This could be just something where it's, and I have a theory about this, right? So if we look at the state table and like what it was using for input, right? We do have something for context, right? Target machine. We have what the next was. We had the current task host, and we have our tasks, right? And we have messages. So messages is accounted for. Hosts, yep. Tasks, current task. We have current task, context, and next. Sid Squatches? I'm going to go with that. Thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great Sunday. A stupendous Sunday. By the way, is the dial tone still not playing when people follow the channel? Did y'all hear the dial tone? If not, I'm going to be sad. Let's just read the memory location. Oh, wait. It's Python. Give me back my macros. Oh. I mean, you could read the memory location. Just wouldn't be as helpful. Maybe we need to rename this from persistence tools to something different. Alright, so let's do a tiny bit of a test here. Let's pull up a bit of Python, and I gotta remember how I did this. Where's the exploit agent? So what we'll do is we will go load up this pickle file here. Yeah. So what do we need to import? I think it's just import. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna replicate this, and then we're gonna examine the state table over here. So import pickle. And we'll say with open, this is going to be data.pickle. And then, well, that will be, I forget what RB actually stands for, but you know what, it works. We'll do this as file. Then what we'll do is we're going to set state is going to be equal to pickle.load file. Except that's got a typo. Alright. Can you break out of that? Can you stop? Can you stop? Fine. You can do it. Alright, let's try this again. So import pickle. Gonna copy this. Yeah. There we go. All right, so if we look at the state table here in our inspector, that is so weird. Why is there no persist? So, okay, this makes sense, but for some reason over here in the state table, there's no persistence tools. See that? We have messages, we have hosts, we have tasks, current task, context, next. For some reason, these persistence tools, there's nothing in it. I wonder if it's because there's, I wonder if it actually is because there's nothing in it. Hmm. Why would that key be just absolutely missing from the state table? Let's look at something real fast. Because we have a complete trace of this. So if we come back to our first execution of Stinger for the day, right? We come over to user input. Our input is basically like nothing, right? Yeah, why is this just absolutely absent from here? Persistent tools is like just gone. Panda, actually, we're doing kind of the opposite of vibe coding. We're, instead of letting the AI code for us, we're coding to break the AI. Nah, I'm kidding. What we're doing is building an AI agent, though, to go and play hacking challenges, CTF games, capture the flags, and doing something really cool right now where here the AI agent, usually it would be calling like its own little set of tools, some kind of function. These are provided by a different server, but we're actually working on this node right here. Something called special agents, where they're completely like isolated code sets, but they do some kind of task in a special manner, where we can take that and we can pass execution to them. So rather than being stuck in this kind of workflow, this graph here, we can take these and we can pass it over to a list of special agents. So if we go make a new special agent to do something, like maybe we have one that specializes in web exploits, we could pass it over to that and let it handle a certain task in there. Or maybe we need to like have a browser set up and we need to have an agent that handles browser interactions. We could do that in here. So all sorts of fun stuff. But for some reason, the tracking table for the state is just being a tiny bit amnesiac. It's forgetting that it's got a key in the table. J Money, what's up, dude? Yeah, J Money, we're still working on HackBot, man. Getting it built up. I think hopefully once this browser agent is good, I think that kind of gets the exploitation agent to its like milestone. Once that's done and kind of functional, it's not optimized by all. This is all very rough code. Pretty much all of the code, speaking of vibe coding, Panda, the only thing that was actually written with the help of any kind of AI system was one tool to integrate with RoboPages. RoboPages over here is our tooling server that we use. And another part in here where I was actually developing the first specialty agent, which was a browser agent. And so this is the only part in here that actually had a little bit of help from AI. The rest of the code I've written myself. And this is a big project to try and get better at writing code in a big project. I've been in offensive security for 7 years. And so modifying and reading code, absolutely no problem. However, writing something from scratch, I don't have a lot of experience with. So this is my first kind of jump into that. So we're doing what I lovingly call hacking around and finding out. All right, what do we need to do here? Why is persistence tools just like not there? There's another way we could actually... No, I expect that sucker to be there. I tell you what, let's do something here. Let's come over to Stinger and let's do a wee bit of a test. We're just gonna do a wee little test in here. Yes. They're never gonna get me Lucky Charms. I use vibe coding a lot these days. I'm a dev since 30 years, so at least I know where to ask the AI and not. I understand the code in the AI that it produces. Oh, dude, so I do use some coding assistance on different projects. There's some stuff that I'm like if I'm rapidly prototyping something for work, yeah, I will definitely do that. Usually, I'm using the Continue plugin, and I've got access to a couple of self-hosted language models, and so I will use those for not really writing the code. I don't use it for like inserting, tab completing a ton, maybe a little bit. But for the most part, it's almost just like an AI search engine here in the browser. That's what I'm using it for. Asking questions like, hey, by the way, what was the syntax for this? Or I need to develop something that might look like so. What would be the design pattern? Stuff like that. And I will use it for that. I've never really gotten into the vibe coding. I think the way you're doing it, though, with the experience to understand what it's doing, I kind of look at it the same way, we look at a lot of calculators for mathematics. And that is, it is a great tool that if you misuse it, it can hinder you severely. And if you use it too early, yeah, it's not going to help. Usually by the time I got to using any kind of AI coding assistance with those other two parts of the code, it was after I had spent a considerable amount of time banging my head against the problem. And I was like, okay, I need to kind of figure out a workable solution to this. And the first one, actually, the stuff for RoboPages up in here, the RoboPages integration, actually, it was hot dog garbage. It was just doo-doo. So it had the correct structure to it. And once I understood the structure, I used that kind of like as a map to go write the actual code out. For the browser agent, it was a little bit more copy pasta from that. It actually, I had to kind of finesse it, massage it, tell it good words, and then it finally gave me kind of what I was looking for. I want to do something over here in Stinger. So for anybody who hadn't seen the full graph of this, Stinger is the supervisor, but the supervisor is not doing much right now. So I think what we're going to do is, I think either in one of these like precursors, maybe, well, I'll probably do it in Stinger. We're going to basically bootstrap that persistence tools. And so it has something in there, because I think that's the problem. I think it doesn't like the fact that that key is empty and it's being passed around. I think that's what's happening. So we're gonna pre-populate it, and then we're gonna do another run against the Try Hack Me box. Hey, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a stupendous, super, catch a fraud, logistic, expiality Sunday. Yes, have a great Sunday. Let me see. Where actually is the Stinger agent? There's the initializer. There's Stinger. Okay. I think what I want to do is I'm going to do one more thing. I do want go-to to be blank. I'm going to call this tools, and this is just going to be a quick dictionary. I'm going to call this Stinger, and we're just going to call this placeholder right here. So all we're going to do then is we're going to right here, what we're doing is we're emitting whatever we're updating in the state table, and the state table is just this type dictionary class right here. So I'm going to add that onto it right here. So what we're going to say is we're going to say persistence tools. Let's see. Can't spell. Persistent tools. This we're going to say that's going to be equal to key tool right up here. Yeah, we'll just do that. P tools. I think that should work. But because we're modifying the pickle structure, I got to go rerun this program. So we'll run it again from scratch up here. You don't have my saved input, you jerk. All right, let's bootstrap this again. We'll let it run. So we have a shortcut set up in here where we don't have to run through the entire workflow, because right now it's got to go through the recon, enumeration, and then the exploitation graph again. However, after it runs and we update a couple of key factors with this, we can actually just run the exploitation graph. That's right, Hats. I'm going to make my own AI coding with blackjack and hookers. That looked weird, Hats. It looked like, I was like, did he just accidentally not send the first message and just start typing out the second one? Like that special brand of ADHD. All right, let's see. Cool, we've moved on to the enumeration agent. And over here, this is pretty cool. This is not an interface I designed. This is from LangGraph Studio. It just lets me see like a visual interpretation of where it's executing in the graph. Eventually, I'll probably move away from this and have some more onboard telemetry for it, where instead of having to use like LangGraph Studio, we'll probably use something like MLflow, where we can visualize where it's going. There are other libraries we can actually have it go generate an image of what the graph looks like. So as much as I like this tool, eventually I did kind of want HackBot to be a little bit self-contained, where you can see the telemetry, see what the AI is thinking. It would be in its nice little interface that's going through there. Must have Control X and pasted it. I hate when I do that. I'm like, here, let me copy this, or let me paste something in here, and I accidentally copy what I've got highlighted. It's like, damn it. I gotta go find the thing I originally copied and do it again. Alright, cool. Once it hits the exploitation agent, it's kind of hard to see in here, but that load pickle function, basically what it's doing is it's checking the state table, and the state table is like the unit of truth between each node. Every node gets a fresh copy of the state table. It can make changes to it, but only the stuff that it returns from its graph execution or from that node actually gets updated over in the state table. So whenever we enter the exploitation agent, load pickle is actually kind of misnamed. It can either load the pickle from disk, or if the state table is already populated, it saves a copy of it to disk. That way, when we execute the exploit agent by itself, it realizes, oh, the state table's empty because it didn't receive the execution from anybody, and then it just loads it up and runs it. So it makes us have a nice little shortcut for our truth table in there. Okay, we got an error, but that's fine because we're still debugging. Let's see, what was the error? Graph recursion limit. You bastard. Where did we hit the recursion limit, though? Let's see. Oh, it looks like it got stuck in the exploit agent for some reason. Let's see. So it called the HTTP GET tool. It called the PHP Web Shell Diceco. Called Python exec. Called get PHP Web Shell Diceco again. Called the HTTP GET. Okay, for some reason it didn't like that. What was it trying to call next before we hit the recursion limit? Let's see. Wait, hold on. Am I missing something in here? I did not see the special agent get called in here. So how are you expecting to upload this if you didn't actually call the browser that does the upload functionality? And what is this bogusness? Why are you calling localhost panel? Well, no wonder why it failed. I don't remember how many times I've had to Google what the for loop was for a specific language. I'm the same way, man. So being in offensive security, one of the cool things is you see like, so I'm a consultant. My company gets hired by other companies, and then they basically piecemeal me out to go do, you know, penetration tests or red team assessments or whatever of their various products, clients, environments. So the cool thing is I see a lot of different and new stuff. The downside is I see a lot of different and new stuff. So you get kind of like this really brief glimpse into a technology, and then you pretty much have to pivot off to a new one. So it the good news is you see a lot of cool stuff. The downside is you don't see a very broad interpretation or explanation of it. And the same thing especially goes with coding languages, because it's just whatever the company wanted to use. Thankfully, I've never come across Perl, because I'd probably cry a little inside. All right, for some reason, this just did not like what it was doing, but it doesn't matter because we can actually still just run the exploitation agent. Because all the steps where it got stuck were all confined to this agent. So if we run this again, notice how up here, it's like everything is blank. Stop. Right up here, we load the pickle and then bam, now all of a sudden we have a lot of data. One thing that's also not optimized inside this is our, what is it? The prompts are not optimized in this at all. Oh, what is this? Let's see. Why is it saying there's a key error for browser agent? Okay, so agent's line 29 for some reason is pitching a fit. Look at that real quick. So here's 29. What were we doing here? Let's see if this made sense. So if the agent name is in persistence tools, do this stuff. Else, what we're going to say is agent. Oh, wait, yes, that's not correct. Oh, no, yes, it is. We initialize the new browser agent with a session name. And then we set the state for the persistent tool session name equal to this agent. So why is it complaining here? Oh, I know why. Yep, I know why. Because this persistent tool here is basically saying, hey, we don't have a key for this in here yet, dummy. So what we need to do is we need to go add that. So this is a little bit wonky, but that's all right. So what we got to do is we need to actually make this first. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We don't have to even set the session, the key like this. What we're going to do is we can just actually rework this line real fast. No, undo. This is how this needs to be. We need to set this to be equal to here, and then we're going to have our key name here. Should be like this. So that's not good. There we go. So now, because I was trying to set this like the completely wrong way in here, and in fact, this needs to be moved over to here as well. This is incorrect as well, just like that. Yeah, that should be good. Because worst thing we did is we say, hey, by the way, do we already have an entry in the persistence tools for the agent? If we do, then cool. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new session. Or we already have the session name. We're going to make that, and then we're going to set that equal to this. So we're just basically pulling out the agent. Otherwise, we're going to basically create the browser agent and then store it in the persistence tools here. Okay. So now we should just be able to go run the exploit agent again. So let's make a new execution thread and run it. There you go. Is this the music from Wario Land? No, this is actually a mix of a couple different musics in there. Let me see if did I do a music thing? Yeah. I believe that some of the songs are from the Heartbound video game, and some of them are from another actually offensive security company called Red Siege. They made a bunch of lo-fi hacker tracks, and they're available. So that's the second one in that list there. Okay. Actually, check that out. We got something else in the exploit step processor. So we errored here instead of in the special agent node. So let's see what happened. Index list out of range? What? Let's see what happens. So we load up the pickle. We go to our exploit validator. That's just basically a safety check. We go to the exploit step planner. We get the steps back out. And then we go to the step processor. So the step processor, first step it's doing is create a basic PHP web shell, in which case it calls the get diceco web shell. Easy enough. And all that does is just return a path to the web shell we've got stored in the Docker volume. Let's see. So that one passed. Once it goes to the revisor, it's kind of like a validator. And what's our second step here is running. So the second step was navigate to the target's upload form on /panel. And for some reason, it's like, hey, let's just do an HTTP GET. That doesn't navigate. That doesn't navigate. That says it validated. You're so full of crap. I need to help you upload a PHP web shell file using the upload form. However, I need some additional information before I can proceed. No, you don't. Hey, Austin, what's up, man? I agree, Hats. Home lab is best lab. Except when you're dealing with a lot of enterprise technologies like I do, in which case you can't really home lab them very well. I don't know, maybe you could. The latest one I was going to look at is a very big enterprise tool. And actually, I could lab that out. I could go integrate that to a home AD lab. Let's see. We go try running this again because for some reason it keeps thinking, it doesn't realize that it can call one of the specialties. Actually, let me look at something real quick. I need to make sure that some of this information on the system prompt is actually being put in place here. So here's our exploitation agent. So here's our planner, our step processor. Let's see. Did we put that in the wrong one? Should this have been in the exploit step processor? No, we've got it right here. It did have it, but I don't think it liked. This was me trying to be lazy and put this in here. Let me try this real quick. Python. Let's see. Let's see if we can convert this to a markdown table. So this is their example right here. They've got names and then they've got ages right here. Which I guess we could do that, because all we're doing is just pulling that directly from a list here. Let's see. So I want to get UTM working on my Mac or a free virtual box for Arch Linux. I want to test how I would do that because UTM Arch is not being good, or it's an older version. Let's see. UTM was that was that software we were looking at the other day, right? For the virtual machines, yeah. I think this was the one we were looking at a couple weeks ago, right, Austin? Yeah. Hey, Bobby, what's up, dude? Yeah, this one. So you're trying to set up an Arch VM inside of UTM right now. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Not sponsored by Jocko? Yeah. I gotta get my ribs healed up. Thankfully, actually, my ribs are healing up just fine. Like, raising my arm. I can put a little bit more weight on it. Can't do a push-up yet right now. But they're healing up pretty good. So hopefully here, end of next week, I think I'll hopefully be back to normal. Oh, dude, yeah. It's a complete farmer's tan right here. It stops dead right there. I'm about as pasty as the virgin snow under this shirt. Let me see. If you specifically for Arch that you want to try, Austin, have you tried VirtualBox? Because VirtualBox, I believe, are you running an M series or an Intel series Mac processor? M1? Okay. Actually, yeah, so they do have the Apple Silicon versions for VirtualBox. UTM looks like it's pretty cool, but I just don't know enough about it. You could at least go test it out and try it, and you could have this run with it. Just got a huge pop out of my back. This is using a Pandas data frame, which I don't necessarily know if I want to bring Pandas into this. Oh, we could also use the tabulate module. However, this is a little bit more fancy than what I want. Let me see. Let's go look at the prompt real fast. Let's see. Prompts, where are you? There's prompts. So over here's where we did this. Yeah. Hold on. Ads are almost done. Yeah, this one right here, Austin, the macOS Apple Silicon. Here, I'll drop the link for you in chat. But you could probably, I would at least test it out with VirtualBox, see if it will work. I think UTM, just from the looks at it, probably looks a little bit easier to use, or maybe it's intended to be simpler to use than VirtualBox. But VirtualBox has had a really good history of actually working. I don't personally care for VirtualBox. For some reason, it just doesn't mesh well with me. I don't know why. It's probably irrational, but yeah, it's got an old version of Arch. Yeah. I was thinking for different operating systems. It might be that, hey, you can use UTM or a ton of other operating systems for virtual machines. Maybe for Arch, for example, you just have to maybe throw that one in VirtualBox. I haven't actually gotten to mess with Arch yet. I've been meaning to. Using generator expressions. Oh, really? What is this thing doing? Look at this absolute mad lad right here. Let me copy this thing real quick. Hang on. I need to see what this is doing. This is kind of crazy. I knew you could do things like this, but... I'm going to drop this right here real fast. What is this line actually doing right here? Let's see. So he's joining this with whatever the key value is. Oh, okay, so he's throwing a new line in there, and then he's throwing in some other stuff. This is kind of wild. But actually, I think this might be kind of what I want, though, because this right here, string v for v in values, yeah. And then for values in this. I think I can make this kind of work. Let's do a little testing with that first. Let me do something, because the state table doesn't actually have this. Let's import this configuration real quick. What was that variable called? Import configuration. From utils.configuration. Oh, I got the syntax all checked out. There we go. And then if we come look at this, our special agents. So we do oh, that's what we did. We did agent prompt data. There we go. So actually what we could do is, let's go modify that over in special agents. That, now I remember, that makes the best sense on where to actually modify this, right here. Let's actually convert this to a string. And then what we'll do is we're going to say, let's see. I think we could do plus equals. Let's make this just a format string real quick. Damn it. Hit the wrong button. There we go. What are you doing? Keyboard's bouncing all over the place. Oh, that's right. We don't need data agent in here. We just need the agent. There we go. And we just throw a new line in there. Boom. There we go. That will do that in there. Excellent. Oh, hey, Bobby. What's up, dude? My wife rationalizes my home lab by saying, at least he's not drinking. Yeah, I think my wife does something similar. Hey, I found this code on the internet. You want to try running it for me? Sure don't. Yeah, we're gonna crack open a nice cold one-liner, a nice cool one-liner. Yeah, actually, I think that would probably work a little bit better. Right, let's see. Let's go try running this again. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit better data by just reformatting what those special agents are. In fact, I'm gonna make one more minor modification to it. I'm gonna put a star in here, so it kind of becomes like a bullet point list for it. So it should get the agent name, and then we should get the agent description. Yeah, that should work. All right, let's try running this again. Submit.
Incoming transmission from E_Euler.
Hey, Euler, what's up, dude? Bandu, I'm just running this on a. This is just a Debian VM. That's all this is. This is just a dedicated dev box that's running Debian with PyCharm. It is absolutely nothing fantastical. All right, exploit agent is trying its thing. Yeah, eventually I will go try Arch. In fact, I'm probably going to try it with, I think it's called Omarchy? Yeah. Which is kind of like a super helpful installer for Arch, so I think I may go try this one. It looks really cool. I've been following the creator of it over on Twitter. And it sounds like he's having a fun time making it, so I might go mess with it a bit. But I just haven't tried it yet. Wait, what happened? Did we error out? I mean, I'm expecting us to error out. Okay. Graph recursion limit hit. You jerk. You're watching a Terminator marathon? I used to watch those actually with my mother-in-law. She absolutely loves Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh wait, I forgot. I was gonna check something in here. Let's see. Where is our exploit step processor? No, stop. Look at this real quick. Hey, there we go. Let's see. The special agent caller tool can also be used to pass execution to one of the following agents. Nice. Okay, so we do have this in here. Excellent. Terminator marathons are really easy because you just stop after the second one. I know, right? I basically just look at all the additional movies as fan fiction. What was the third one? Was it Dark Fate? Terminator movies. Let's see, what was the movie order? No. I want the release time. Okay, so Terminator, then you have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Actually, I thought Rise of the Machines was okay. I didn't think it was too bad. Terminator Salvation, that one wasn't too bad either. Genesis and I think Dark Fate. Dark Fate, I think those were all trash. If Dark Fate's the one I'm thinking of with the yeah. With her, yeah, I was like that one was kind of crappy. The other ones I thought were alright. Terminator 2 is the first non-Soviet movie I saw. You picked a good one, man. And the good thing about that is you could actually watch Terminator 2 without having seen the original one. I mean, it's better if you have seen the original, but it's not bad. Okay, why are we hitting a graph recursion limit again? Python exec, Python exec. Stop trying to get a damn web shell from the Python exec. So this task involves executing a specific command to rename the file from Diceco. Oh. Oh? Wait a second. What did we get here? Let's go back a bit. What was our list of steps that we needed? Where's our exploit planner? All right, so here's the planner. And what did we plan out? So create a simple PHP web shell, save the web shell with a double extension to bypass filtering, navigate to the target's upload panel, intercept the upload using a proxy like burp suite. No, no. Just stop. This. All right, so the planner prompt is hot garbage right now, is what I'm seeing. Let's see if we can clean that up a wee bit. All right, so here's our planner prompt. Let's take a look at this. Rise of the Machines where Arnold gets the glasses from the gay bar. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was really funny. Yeah, the one where, spoilers, by the way, if you hadn't seen this yet, where John Connor turns out to be an Terminator. That one was really dumb. That was Genesis. Didn't care for that one. Let's see. All right, so how do we structure this prompt? Let's see. So you're an expert cybersecurity agent specializing in finding exploits for initial access to a target. So your primary job is to analyze the task and target data, plan the steps necessary to complete exploit tasks. Additional context may be provided for previously failed exploit attempts that could be modified or avoided. So responses should provide a list of steps and reasoning for each step. Conditions for the planning steps. All steps must be constructed to perform by calling tools. Tasks should be able to be completed by an AI agent using the command line tools. Well, that is just out of there because you don't even try to do that. Let's see. And you're not even following this instruction either. Don't speculate on countermeasures or bypasses. Provide the minimal list of steps to accomplish the task. Assume the target has no additional security features. All right, let's give it an example here. Let's do that. Let's say for example, given the task, let's see, what was the actual task? I'm going to give it so this is something called one-shot or few-shot prompting, which is you give it like your list of constraints, but then you also give it an example of, hey, given this set of input, your output should look similar to this. And you kind of go from there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try it for a one-shot prompt where we actually go through, we say, hey, by the way, here's a condition and here's what it should look like. And this will be a little bit contrived because our task is going to look very similar. Let's see. So our task is a little bit weird, though. Given a task to, I'm going to use a backtick to kind of make this a little bit nicer here. Let's see. Upload a PHP web shell to the upload a PHP web shell to a website. And I can't spell application either. So we'll say if you're good, if the example is to upload something to a web application. Let's take this out. You know, actually, this actually reminds me of something, because look at the task. The task is upload a PHP web shell to panel directory that bypasses any type of filtering. I don't remember telling it this. Because if we go look at, where was our last stinger pass? Right here. If we go to the initializer, right here, the task was actually get a remote code execution shell from a web shell. So what has happened here is, in our exploitation planner, our exploit step planner, actually over here in the exploitation agent, right? The exploitation agent is actually looking at this and saying, hey, what are we going to do to get onto this system? The exploitation agent is actually the one that made this. That told it, hey, by the way, I want you to do this. So actually, we can go look at this. So the exploitation agent, we told it, its output here is our task, upload a PHP web shell to the panel directory that bypasses any filtering. So actually, we need to go update the exploitation agent prompt as well, because the exploitation agent prompt is trying too hard. It's starting off with like the most complicated example, like, oh, we need to bypass this, we need to bypass this. We don't have any input here that says this is the issue yet. So we need to back it up a little bit. So VirtualBox isn't working either, Austin? Oh, that's a bummer. And just to be sure, so the copy of Arch that you got, you made sure you got a copy that... Well, actually, I think... So you're running this in UTM, right? Let me go look at something again real fast. Because I believe UTM actually does... not ATM. If I remember reading this right, it's saying that it is Apple Hypervisor. So it will emulate processes for this, right? So basically what it's doing, Austin, is it's emulating, trying to convert something from like one CPU architecture to another. So for example, double check the iOS, check the ISO that you downloaded for Arch. It's probably an x64 ISO. See if there's an ARM32 copy for it, because UTM is probably using QBO or something in the backend to do emulation, where you can actually be running software for one processor on another. But VirtualBox does not do that. So if you want to run an operating system in VirtualBox, you have to make sure the architectures match. So you want to get one for either ARM32 or one that's like compatible with the Apple Silicon. Hey, Aether. Dude, we are doing the most simple example, which is RootMe over on TryHackMe. It is a very, very simple box, but we're trying to teach an AI agent how to do it. So we're sitting here kind of fiddling with it and cleaning up some of its prompting right now, because the prompts are getting a little bit too wacky. So we're going to finish the planner prompt, and then we're going to go fix the exploit suggestion prompt out of this. Let's see. Let's see. So responses should have a list of the steps and the reasons for each step. Okay. So for example, so we're going to give it an example here. So given this, so given the task to upload a PHP web shell to a web application, the response steps would look like, and then what we'll do is we're going to put another one in here. Let's see. Get a copy of a PHP web shell. So what I'm doing is I'm giving it an example of like, hey, this is how you should structure the output. So I'm trying to tell it, be simpler. Don't be so crafty, trying to assume there's a lot of security that's here that we had to bypass ahead of time. We're going to deal with that later in the loop. For this part where it's executing, which is essentially this part of the graph here, right? Up here, I want it to assume simplicity. Down here, these steps actually should come through and say, hey, we need to modify these. I might have to double check the revisor as well. Are you talking about Howard the Duck hats? Let's see, get a copy of the web shell. Web application. Upload page. Let's say upload a copy. Upload the PHP web shell. And then we'll say, actually, I did like Howard the Duck way back in the day. I tried to rewatch it again. I was like, oh, it's so cringy. Noipi, did you finish your degree, man? Like, are you done? Nice, dude. Let's go. That's awesome, Noipi. I'm so happy to hear that for you, man. That's some good news. Yeah, that was the same girl, Leah Thompson, I think's her name, from Back to the Future. Let's see. Back to the Future. Was that her? Yeah, Leah Thompson. Yeah, that was the same lady. Now it's just time to apply for jobs. Good luck, man. How did I know her name? Because I actually just recently saw Back to the Future, the musical, with my wife. So for anybody that doesn't know, Sock, aka my wife, the supportive, organized caregiver, she is very big on like musicals. She loves them. So that's one of our regular dates that we go on is she gets tickets to musicals and we go to them. And I got to see Back to the Future, the musical. And that was just about a month ago. So the information around the whole Back to the Future universe is very fresh in my brain right now. Yes, Back to the Future, the musical. It was actually really good. Wait, it was 5 months ago? I take it back. That was about 5 months ago we went to go see that. No. So, there was also Beetlejuice, the musical, she just reminded me. That one was really good too. They kind of softened the end, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. It was good for what it was. Master, you didn't like the Back to the Future musical? I thought they did a pretty good job on it. It's not so much that I really enjoy the singing, but the set design is very fascinating to me. And so I like to see what happens, like how they design the set pieces and whatnot. That's my favorite thing actually of going to the shows is like, how do they do that? What are they doing there? I'm getting very technical in like the set design. And they do some pretty creative stuff. Palmer, I hate musicals. I get it. They're not everybody's cup of tea. I don't hate them. They're not my first go-to. My wife loves them. And I get some enjoyment out of doing like technical analysis of the set. So it's a really nice date night for us. Let's see. What else do I want to say here? Let's see. Web request to test the web shell. There we go. All right, so there's an example for it. So we're giving an example here in the prompt, but we need to come back up here a wee bit to the suggestion here. Exploit and reason. let's see. So that's good. We do want an example. Let's see. I'm going to make this a good example. And then I'm going to give it a bad example in here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's say a negative example. Negative example would be create a obfuscated PHP web shell with multiple extensions. What would be another good one here? Let's see. Another negative example would be try to think of like an overly like a way that you might overly complicate an exploit in this. Use Python to create a SSH client to brute force a private key. I'm trying to give it like something like, hey, this is obviously too complex for something we're gonna do. What would be another good like example? Like, hey, this is too far afield. We want to start simple. Musicals are cringy, but I'd watch Back to the Future. I really liked it, dude. Talking about set designs and musicals, if you didn't have a wife, I'd start assuming things. Well, that was something I did in high school because you had to take some kind of an art course. So one of the things I took was, they called it tech theater, where you actually went and you did like building sets and stuff. Now, granted, this was in high school, so these were not complicated sets. A lot of times it was just maybe sawing and cutting and like, you know, screwing wood pieces together to make something for the set. It was not overly complicated. So when I see what like these people do, where they've got projectors set up, they've got moving set pieces, and I'm like, how the heck do they even choreograph that? It's like, it's really, really cool. Can you brute force SNMP communities? I mean, you can brute force them. Yes. Chances are low. Actually, I take it back. They're not really low because people tend to reuse a lot of the same strings over and over again. Let's see, what would be another negative example here? Something that's like stupidly complex. Let's say, yeah, I'm gonna do something. Let's see. Create a custom malware. No, I wouldn't do that. Because actually, if it wanted to create a malware loader, I'd be fine with that. Let's see. What would be another good negative example here? You know what? 2 is good. Boop. There we go. So what we're trying to do with this prompt here is we're trying to get it to say, hey, you need to simplify this. Keep the exploits simple. So granted, saying something like uploading a web shell, yeah, that's fine. That is a nice, simple, concise answer. But saying create a PHP, create an obfuscated, I screwed this up. Obfuscated PHP web shell with multiple file extensions. That's too much because you don't know if you even need that. Why would you go to all the trouble of it if you don't need it? Okay. Palmer, yes. So you can brute force SNMP community strings if you wanted to try that. There's actually, I believe Seclist has, let me see. I think he even has like a list of like common SNMP strings in here. I think it's in Discovery. Let's see. Yeah, SNMP. Oh, there we go. So in Seclist, Discovery, SNMP, these are like really common SNMP strings that you could brute force in there. Oh, that should be something we should add as a negative. Actually, I agree with that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Brute force S&MP. Community strings. Let's see. In base 64. There you go. I'm trying to just make it obnoxious and point all the little vectors of the machine language of the language model to away from weird and ridiculous to simple. Let's see. Suggestion should be simple, concise, and not speculate. 2 security measures. As to security countermeasure. Okay. I have a feeling we're going to have to go work on the revisor as well. I don't remember what all I did in the revisor. It's been so long. Cisco used to have a bug that if you sent a community string over 50 characters, it would cause a reload. RIP. That sounds like a very Cisco thing to do. All right, let's... I saved this so that way it's going to hot load in all the changes. And then let's go try running this again. See if we can get it to chill out and stop trying to make weird, crazy exploits. All right, what's the exploit suggestion here? Come back. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come back. Get back down here, you jerk. I have a feeling that probably what we'll need to do is rework this execution flow. Well, the good news is it did finally actually try to go over to the exploit special agent. So that's good. However, we got to go figure out what the error is now. Because what I'm thinking now is, so as it's executing through this exploit step planner, I think the step planner needs to be backed off of it. And why do I say that? I think probably what needs to happen is the step planner needs to create a generalized list of steps, which is what we're trying to do. And then as it actually hits the step processor, take an element from this list, create the first exploit step, and then walk through it. And then the revisor should look at like, okay, did the step actually fail or can we modify it? Do we need to rerun this step to see if we can fix it? If so, then cool, we'll go through and execute it. Otherwise, go ahead and proceed on to the next step. This one looks validated. And then actually have the exploit step processor go to the planned steps, pull it down, and then prepare it. Because right now, the step planner is actually doing all of that. And this is just basically a tooling execution loop in here. We might have to add a little bit more thinking over to it. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So what was the error that we actually got from this? We had a Docker exception. What? What? A Docker exception? You're killing me, Smalls. So it's a Docker API client. So where did we actually pull this in at? So for some reason in browser line 27, really? In the browser? Let's see. Why is it throwing an error there? This worked in our test case. Why would it be any different in this one? I once had a project where I had to integrate a Cisco VoIP solution in a non-Cisco environment. I'm sorry, man. I concluded that Cisco does not have bugs. It is the bug. I know. Ford, I agree. Actually, the whole reason why I did not sit for the Cisco VoIP certification is because I didn't want people to know that I knew it. Because I had a nightmare one time where I was handed an Excel spreadsheet with like 500 names in it. And they're like, hey, we need you to set up voicemail boxes for all these people. And the voicemail system was so atrocious in the lab setup that we had, I freaking hated it. And it scared me so bad, I never took the certification because I didn't want anybody to ever know that I knew that information. Hey, Frozen, what's up, dude? Okay, why is it complaining about this? Let me see. LangGraph dev identified a synchronous blocking call on your code. So when running in an ASGI web server, blocking calls can do great performance for everyone since it will type the event loop. I think we're fine. We're not worried about that. So I'm pretty sure this is, let's see, from ENV. Do I really need to do that? I mean, why is it throwing a fit here? Seriously, this is why you're doing this? Did it throw this error literally because it says that was a blocking call? For real? Question, what's a container disk 3? Oh, you got it? Okay, good, Austin. Because I was going to ask for way more context. We learn from crushing as long as we don't burn. That's right. I'm not sure if you meant crashing or crushing, but you know what? We're always trying to crush it on here. Get some good crushing action happening. Oh, you're doing Arch via the terminal? My man. Doing it hard mode. You're not playing with kitten mittens. Oh, this was on a custom asterisk server from Slackware. Ooh. And see, I was doing Cisco VoIP in 2010, maybe 2009, and it was still trash. I can only imagine what it was like in 2004. It's probably the same trash, actually, because the lab stuff was always a little bit older. Let's see. So wasn't it not liking about this? Well, let's do a little bit of check here, right? So it's bitching that basically it doesn't like that it's using blocking code in here. So let's see if we can find something here. Python, convert function to async. Actually, let's just try this. Let's see async function wrapper. So we can do this. That's okay, man. You can keep crushing it also as long as you don't burn too. This statement still worked. Let's see. Okay, this is not... I've actually read through this before. This is not what I wanted. Python convert sync to async. Good old Stack Overflow. Where would I be without you? So you got to the setup for Arch and then it started hanging. Let me see what they talk about in this video real fast. They're running an Apple M1. So you're getting basically right here in trying to run the setup and the setup is hanging, Austin? Let's see, from 604. All right, let me see here. I think, Austin, though, this doesn't quite match up where you have to change the boot order because you're loading it into a virtual machine. You're not installing it bare metal. This looks like he's installing Arch directly on an M1 Mac natively. So he's installing it to the directly onto the hard disk to have the Mac boot it. Yeah, what I would do, Austin, is just look for like a tutorial of how to just install a virtual machine directly, like from the ISO. Because then, and don't worry about like the boot order or anything. That should all be handled as soon as like the Arch ISO boots up. Hey, Tommy, what's up, man? You passed your LPI exam? Well, okay, remind me, what is the LPI? Because I live in acronym hell. Oh, the Linux Essentials? Nice, man. Good job. Look at you go. We got you passing your LPI. Noipi finished his degree up. I was like, I love hearing this stuff. This makes me so happy. Does this still work? Because this solution is like from 8 years ago. Yeah, because this, well, actually, this is from 2020, so. They're telling the function for it, but I need to also get the data back. I hadn't seen that, Hats, that about the switch from Network D to NMCLI. Hey, Aether, what's up, man? So what we're doing is there's a whole slew of challenges. I'm not sure if you're familiar with basically hacking Sudoku. That's what they are. They're usually called capture the flags, though, because what you're doing is you're trying to basically, from a security means, compromise a machine, and then there's files on there that are the flags you're trying to capture them, right? So usually you have to find some kind of initial exploit to land on the box, capture that, then escalate to some kind of a super user on the machine, and then capture the higher privilege flag in there. I've done those in the past. I'm not a super huge fan of them. However, in an endeavor to learn how to write better code from scratch without just modifying and copy pasta and crap together, and also to explore a little bit more on how AI agents work and how they think and how to build those systems out, we're actually building an AI agent to go through and play some of these hacking challenges. So it's still very early in the development, but we're playing this one called Root Me over on TryHackMe. And all we're doing is we're just trying to see if we can get this AI agent to solve this. It is a super simple example in here. This one takes probably, if you know what you're doing, you could have this one done in 3 minutes, really, after you go and find it. So we're just trying to teach the AI agent how to do it. Right now, we're working on the exploitation agent. So what we've got is we've got a supervisor here, Stinger, and then we've got a recon and an enumeration, and then there's an exploitation, and eventually we'll have a fourth one over here called post exploitation, which is like stuff you do after you actually get command execution on the system. So the post exploitation we haven't started yet, but we're working on the exploitation agent to get it to give us that initial exploit to get on the system. That's what we're working on right now, trying to solve. Yeah, Austin, that looks correct. That looks like the correct like steps you would go through. So they're switching to NMCLI and a lot of default distributions, including Raspberry and Yocto. I haven't ever messed with Yocto. So if you find me hanging one day, I'm telling you, NMCLI will be the note. Understand, man. That's a bit how I feel about System D. I really do not like System D. Maybe it's because I'm just old and crusty. All right, what I'm thinking I might have to do then, since it's complaining about this from ENV here, is we might have to wrap this into a different function. Either that or just get it up here. Let me try that real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to say Docker socket. It's going to be here. And then we're going to drop this right here. I'm going to see if I just switch this around a wee bit, if it will let it not spaz out. And then we'll try running this again. So let's execute it. Can you mention the steps and hardware requirements for setting up the AI agent to solve the CTF? So if you want to take a look at it, everything's over on the BlaiseBits GitHub for HackBot. Hack the Bot is actually the name of it. I'm going to change the name later. This is just the working repository. But you can follow it on here. Eventually, once it gets to like the, I don't know, let's call it very early alpha release, I'll publish it as its own independent repository. But essentially, it's got a couple moving parts to it. Let's see. Where's my... There we go. So essentially, what you've got is you've got HackBot here running. It's got it's got another system in here called RoboPages. Let's see. RoboPages. And then RoboPages, it talks to this from an HTTP connection here. And then we've also got some Docker stuff running, where it's running in the background. And RoboPages actually talks back and forth to Docker as well. RoboPages will actually spin up all of our tooling in here. So this is our tooling server. Is this guy. All of our tooling. And then this is essentially it. It doesn't take very much. We're currently just sending everything over to Anthropic for all of our AI stuff. I do have a locally hosted language model that I could use, but honestly, I'm just using Anthropic because I have a lot of credits for it. It makes it fast, simple, and easy. And I will actually go through and set up where you could use different AI, like AI providers like OpenAI. You could use Gemini, OpenRouter, whatever, and be able to plug those into here. But that's further down the line. For right now, during testing, everything is just using Anthropic's API. Let's see. All right, how far did we get? So it crashed out again. If we got the same error, blocking error, you punk. It's not even that hard, though. Come on, man. So I got 1 terabyte of space and it wants 64 gigs. If you want to use that, can't run. So Austin, whenever it talks about like how much disk space you need, what you want to think about is on a virtual machine, you don't actually give it access to really any physical hardware. So what happens here is you've got something called the hypervisor. And your hypervisor actually handles all those interactions. And the hypervisor you're using actually sits on top of macOS right here. And then down here is actually where all your hardware is. So these things kind of flow up and down. So your hypervisor doesn't actually touch your hardware layer down here. It basically makes imaginary hardware for macOS to then be able to pass that down to the hardware when it actually is running. And so for those VMs, what you're going to do is you're going to give it basically, you're going to tell it what the CPU characteristics are. You're going to tell it what the disk characteristics are. So this is where they're talking about they need that 64 gigs right here. So what you would do is whenever you create that disk, you want to just make sure it's got greater than 64 gigs on there. So when you create that virtual machine, just make sure that that is set up in there. Correct. Because even though you might have down here in your hardware layer, you might have a 1 terabyte drive and it's 80% empty, but the virtual machine only knows what the hypervisor tells it, which is, oh, by the way, you have a disk and the disk is only 30 gigs, for example. So in the hypervisor, in VirtualBox is where you actually have to go set that up to have it run. How many CPU cores? I would say give it 4. Give it 4 cores, and actually, I would say for your disk, 64 would work. I'd say probably give it 128 for good measure. And you're not going to use all of this space in here. So let's say, for example, you had 100 virtual machines, and they all have disks that they think are 128 gigs large. It's actually not going to use 128 gigs every single time. What's going to happen is only the amount of data that you used is what's actually going to be used up on your hard drive. So if each of those virtual machines only uses 1 gig, you're only going to be using like 100 gigs total across all of them. So this is just basically, think of it like the max size that that VM can have in here. Do I need OpenGL hardware? Actually, that one I don't know for the M series Max, if you want to do that. For memory, I'd say give it at least 8 gigs of memory. Give it 8 gigs of memory and you should be good. For Arch, you'd probably be more than fine. All right, let me see if I can find something. Let's see. So here's how we do an async function, but what I need is how to basically convert a blocking function to an async. It's actually a really good article. I want to read the rest of it. So here's an example of how a synchronous function could block other tasks. So we've got our blocking operation here. We've got a bunch of asyncs happening. And then in main, if we call the block, let's see, where's he calling the blocking function? Hold on, what did he call this? Blocking operation. Ah, here we go. So that's where he's got this happening right here. Okay. There's the without blocking. It says there's a known issue in some of the newer Linux distros, including a black screen or broken composing for OpenGL. Gotcha. Probably best to just leave it off then. Let's see. All right, I need to figure out how to convert this synchronous thing into an asynchronous thing, which I believe it's going to come back with a yield. Remember right? I really need to buckle down and stop pussyfooting around with asynchronous Python. So the thing that kills me is, okay, so he's using 2thread here to get this into a thread so it's not blocking anymore. But how do I get the data back from it? Because all he's doing is sleep. So I was like, I want to get the data back. So what I'm trying to do here, Hats, is let me back this up a bit. So what's happening here is this Docker call is blocking, because what we're doing is we're getting the Docker socket from the environment here. And it's complaining because this is a blocking procedure. So I need to get that sucker back out and make it non-blocking, essentially. Give it 8192, Austin. Yeah, give it 8192 megabytes. That'll give it 8 gigs. Let's see. Let me look at something real quick. So this guy was saying if we... So you can simply wrap your asynchronous function with async IO coroutine like this. Okay, I'm going to give this a shot real fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is going to be the Docker socket. And then the function we're going to run is Docker from env. I wonder if this will actually work. We'll find out. And then if this is the case, because the good thing is this would actually load up as soon as it happens. So like at runtime, this part should execute, but the rest of this won't until we actually call the get session state function here. So let me go see if this will work. I got no clue. I'm floundering a bit here with this. I really do just need to suck it up and learn async Python. So I'm in the boot order picker for UTM. The boot order, if it's asking you, like, if you're doing the first boot, you'd boot off of the CD-ROM. Because what's going to happen is, essentially, you're going to have, let's call it like a virtual CD-ROM connected to this guy. But really what's happening is your ISO file, which is the image of the disk, is actually what's being presented to that. One sec, guys. I gotta run and get some water. I'll be right back. Guess who's back? Back again. All right, so Austin, what I was saying is, when you're looking at the boot order, like when you first boot up that virtual machine, when you connect it to your VM, you basically have like a virtual CD-ROM there. Really what it's doing is it's reading that ISO file for the operating system you want to install. So you want to set that CD-ROM like on the, not as the boot order. The boot order should be disk and then CD-ROM whenever you do that. And then if it doesn't find a bootable operating system on the disk, it's going to go over to the CD-ROM and then try to load that ISO file. So really your boot order would be disk and then CD-ROM when you're doing that. If it's just asking you which one to boot up for initially, you would choose something like the CD-ROM. Yeah, I think try boot manager. All right, let's go back over here. Wait, did this run? Why didn't you run? Run, dang you. Is the server getting an error on it? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Async IO coroutine doesn't like that. What is it? Is it actually supposed to be coroutines? Let's see. Try QEMU. Yeah, see if that will work. All right, so this should be coroutine, but however, the error that the terminal was throwing was saying that module async IO has no attribute coroutine. Did you mean coroutines? I did not mean coroutines. How old is this solution? 2016? That's probably why. Let's see. Async IO. Peaches. Let's see. So the async IO run function on the top level entry point main function. Okay. There's async IO run. You see. Runs the past coroutine, taking care of managing the async event loop, finalizing async generators. Okay. But what I need is it. All right, so coroutines declared with the async await syntax is the preferred way of writing async IO applications. All right, this is not what I need. Let's see. Python, let's see, convert sync to async in 2025, not from 2016. Psyched. What's up, dude? Man, we're just still working on HackBot. I got a problem though where this Docker code here
this Docker function is blocking and it's causing LangGraph to panic. So what I need to do is convert it to an async one. Hey, Kinslayer, what's up, man? Hadn't seen you in a while. How have you been doing? Good. Where's this async to sync? I'm not important. Return synchronous functions to async. So TLDR. Come on, there has to be like a pure async IO way to do this. All right, I hate to do this, but I'm going to. Let me see what good old Claude has to say about this. Not now. All right. Let's see. I hate having to ask this damn thing, but I'm trying to figure it out. So in Python, the Docker SDK function synchronous. How can I convert this to an async call? Function. Let me just see what it says here. Beating my head against the wall trying to learn C. Dude, you're in the right spot because there are some C masters actually here in the channel today. Oh, so you can use async to thread. Okay. That's what I was expecting. I saw the 2-thread in here, but everything was like, hey, use coroutines. I'm like, coroutines I don't think has been there since 2020. I think I could just drop this sucker right here. No, that's not what I told you to do. What was it? Await async IO2 thread. I think that's it. Except it's not going to like this because of how this sucker is functioning. Put the actual function call down here. These are not asynchronous either. What's bugging you? You think you're so funny, Hats, don't you? You can also use a different Docker client for this. Peaches, do you need to go outside? Okay. Hang on one sec, guys. Peaches is dying over here. I gotta let her out. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. Peaches only starts acting like that, getting all crazy on me when she's really got to go out to the bathroom. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just copy pasta this function right here. And then what we'll do is we're going to invoke this here. Just like that. Okay, I think that might work. Let's go try it. Und wir sollen to fancy exploit agent one more time. Cancel. You failed me for the last time. What are you doing? But now you want to run. Routine has no object containers. What? We need to await this. Although the downside is I can't await this because it's going to say, "Hey, by the way, we don't have this in here. You're not in an asynchronous function." And it's going to throw another bunch of errors in here saying, "We can't do that." All right, let's back this up a bit. Back it up. Back it up. Okay, so it doesn't like this Docker from env because it's blocking. Yes, Python async is being an absolute pain this time. And it's actually really not the async in the Python in particular, but what's happening here is, like, for example, in this one, there's a Docker exception being thrown. And basically saying, hey, by the way, LangGraph, which is our parent framework for all the AI interactions, doesn't like how it's working in here. So let me look at the options that it supplies down here. It's like, hey, by the way, so the error that comes up is LangGraph identified a synchronous blocking call in your code. So when running in an ASGI web server, hold on, what do they mean by ASGI? Let me double check that. Asynchronous server gateway interface. Yeah, I don't. But we're not running in an ASGI web server. We're not. All right, we just change the environment variable then. Let's go try that real quick. Hang on one sec, guys. I'm gonna have to drop into OPSEC mode to set this guy real fast. Hello, Peaches. Do you feel better? Who's a good girl? Yes, you are a good girl. Okay. I had to update the env file for that. But, yeah. I had to restart the server to do that, though, I think. Close all these back. I don't need it again. Oh, wait. All you're doing is eating up RAM from. Alright. Let's try this again. I need to go check my Anthropic credits because I'm curious how many credits I've burned on this. Last time I checked, I think we'd used about $25 over the development cycle of this. I prefer threading over async IO. Yeah. I swear, if you give me the same error. Docker exception. You think about this.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
Nerdwino!
Virus detected in the network.
There's a new virus here. I send the cookie monsters. Slow down the virus. Welcome in, Raiders! My astronomical brother from another mother. How you doing, Nerdwino? Did y'all have a good time? Nerd Raid, you've come to the right place, my nerds. Welcome in. We, too, are dealing with things on an astronomical scale. However, this is astronomically stupid. And that is dealing with async threads in Python for our little hacking bot. Yes, hack the planet. I'm doing pretty decent, man. Although, Arduino, so a week ago, I got thrown off of an ATV, and my 3-year-old was sitting in my lap. And so we basically just got to ditch. Grabbed him, rolled, landed on my shoulder, just completely crunched up my ribs. So they're still healing up. I'm actually got a lot of movement back in my shoulder. I can't put a lot of weight on it yet. I'm still waiting for the meat to heal up, but I think the bones and the cartilage are just fine. So we're still healing up. By the way, Raiders, welcome in. For anybody who doesn't know, my name is Blaise. For real, it is my real name. And we're just sitting here doing some hacking stuff. I'm a professional penetration tester. I've been doing that for 7 years and been in IT for like 15 years and literally breaking computers since the 2nd grade and just having a blast with it. So what we're doing is we're making a little AI hacking bot to go play hacking challenges for us, capture the flag games. And we're just having some fun. Right now, however, it's not so fun because I'm fighting with async IO and I just want to take it and give it noogies. And if you're old like me, you know what a noogie is. We should bring those back. Noogies were important learning lessons for many, many people. Personally, Kennedy, if I'm going to be testing pens, I prefer to test the Mont Blanc, but I have expensive taste. It's funny, actually, when people ask me what I do, I don't like to get into the conversation of explaining what penetration testing is. So usually I just tell them I'm an IT consultant. It depends. If I don't know this person at all, instant default answer, I do IT consulting. Oh, what is IT consulting? I go look at a customer's environment, I tell them where they've got problems and how to fix it. Boom, that usually just shuts down the conversation right there. If I know the person a little bit better, and then they ask what I do, I give them the option. I was like, do you want to know the nice answer or do you want to know the actual answer? The nice answer, IT consultant. The actual answer, professional felon who doesn't have to go to pound me in the booty prison. And then if I really know the person well, then it's like, hey, dude, I'm a pen tester. Because they probably know exactly what that is by that. Nothing wrong with the Mont Blanc, except they're expensive. Like I said, I got the expensive taste. I don't think I'll ever own a Mont Blanc. I almost got gifted one when I worked in sales because I had a really good month, but I missed it by that much. If they weren't expensive, everybody would have one. I know, brother. I know. They gotta have that absolute too. Actually, believe it or not, just the little gel pens. Those are the ones I like. They write really well. Those are the ones I test out all the time. Mostly they're testing my patience. All right, how do I want to do this? So I need to populate this into this browser session. I've got another stupid idea in here. How can I do this? Actually, I'm thinking about something else here. A nice little else statement where if we don't have this set, what we can do is we could actually use that function in there. Basically from this await async IO thread locking function. Because for some reason, doing the background isolated loops variable didn't work. So if we send this to a thread, drop this down real quick. Let's do something. Let's do async define. We're going to call this get Docker socket. And then what we'll do is we'll return that back out of there. Except that's not correct. Boop. There we go. Make do with my Parker dumbfold. Yeah. Or duofold. You want Noogie's take a waiter or a waitress's favorite pen? Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Docker dot... What was the function? Get env? Oh, from env. Let's throw this in here. I can't believe this is the thing that is causing all this trouble. Okay, so the kicker is this is going to return our await in here. So this pops it off into a thread. How do I get that data back out of an async function? I gotta figure out how to do that. So, what is return? I hate actually having to ask the AI this, but I'm just trying to get it done. So how to use it? Use it same as any regular Docker client with the usual methods and properties. Are you sure about that? Sure about that? Okay, that's great, but I need it to actually come back when this happens. Oh, so he defines it here as this client. I got it. Okay. Mitch, you're good. You're all good. It's all about timing, right? All right, I'm gonna try something in here. You take this out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the Docker socket up here. And then what we're gonna do is actually up here, we're gonna just pop this back up. Yeah, I know it's a shadow name. I did that on purpose. So async IO run get Docker socket. Hopefully this will actually work. I'm not sure. Yeah, it should, because this is going to, it's going to async run this. It's going to await it. It should populate to this variable and then out to the outer scope. Okay. There we go. In fact, I think I want to refactor this. I'll call this underscore Docker socket. There we go. And then now what's going to happen is this can now be populated there. Every time this, so when this gets loaded up, right, it's going to get loaded up as not main. So it should run the get Docker socket from there. Actually, I'm going to make a slight modification to this because in the simulated node, we need to actually have that in there. Trust me, you're going to need it. Okay, let's go give this a shot. Let's see if the server threw any errors with it. I don't think so. And then let's go run our AI agent. First off, actually, how much time do we have left? The dang machine turned off. I added an hour to you. Piece of junk. Hey, Badla, what's going on, man? We're working on a little AI hacking agent to play this Try Hack Me challenge called Root Me. It is a very basic challenge, but we're building up a kind of complex agent here. So we want to start with something real simple. And currently, we're just trying to get the exploitation agent to work. We're having to fight with some async stuff in here. All right, we got to give this a minute to boot back up, and then we'll have to go run this sucker again. Nick, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by the scope? Also, thanks, Nightman. Eventually, HackBot, that repo is going to be deprecated, and we'll actually put it into the real GitHub repo. That's just the working repo for now. So I'll put a note in there that says, hey, by the way, this has been migrated over to the actual repo. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Nick. I thought you were talking about the scope of, like, the variables in here. I've been in IT since the 80s. While some things are so much better, others aren't. Server reliability is a lot better. What's the recommended global value for XYZ on a PDQ? Yeah, I actually, usually whenever I'm doing a couple of these things with some of these AI systems, I try very hard not to use it at all. There's some small things where it actually is super helpful. Most of the time, when I'm using it like for work, I've actually got it embedded here in the IDE, and I'm using it almost as like just a search engine in here, where it's like, hey, how do I do certain things, or where can I find certain things? Let's see if this booted up. All right, this is gonna be annoying. I gotta go run the entire agent again to get it updated. Let's see, where's Stinger? All right, let me drop this in to our seed data. Damn it, I copied it instead of pasting it. Kill him, Smalls. Let's see, this is 109, 128. So 1010, 109, 128. There we go. Let me copy this real quick. And then we'll go run the entire stinger. And then there's our seed data. Let me double check that. 109, 128. Yep. Okay. Should be good there. Submit. So right now it's actually going to go through the entire workflow, because once it gets to exploit, it updates a local snapshot, a pickle file of the state table, so we can run just the exploitation agent without having to do the entire thing over. However, if the machine times out, the IP address changes right here, and then all the historical data becomes wrong. So I got to go through and fix it. Couldn't this get problems when you import this somewhere else and it overrides the socket with a new one? Not necessarily, because this one's only getting imported into one specific area, which is the configuration script. And so the configuration script imports our specialty agent and calls it, and this is our special agent. Our special agent loader actually loads this up and then it handles it. So it should be like a single import type of operation. It's not going to get imported from different areas. So what's being tested right now is we're testing this AI agent and how it thinks. So it runs through a very basic pen testing, let's say, thought process of recon, enumeration, and then exploitation. We're currently working on the exploitation process right now. And Kennedy, thanks for coming online, man. Appreciate it. There should be a little dial-up tone that plays whenever that happens. I don't know why it's broken. I got to go through and fix it. But I hear it, though. I hear it. And I didn't know y'all couldn't hear it until last night. That's when I learned this. So right now what we're doing is we're working on the exploitation agent. So there's going to be 5 agents that are kind of like the main agents. Recon, enumeration, exploitation, and then post-exploitation. And then the last one is going to be the supervisor, which is this one right here, which you can kind of barely see, which is the Stinger agent. And so Stinger right now is very dumb. Eventually, Stinger will go through and actually analyze data, create tasks, and hand them off to the agents to do. Right now, we're kind of seeding it with this information here. We tell it, hey, scan a target, figure out how many ports are open, what server what web server version is running on it. Go do a Go Buster on it, figure out what hidden directories there are, stuff like that. Really basic stuff. Okay, we got an error, which is fine because that's actually what we were expecting. But if we get the same dang one. Okay, so for some reason we got a list index out of position in here. Okay, that's actually fine, but let's see what it did here. So what were the exploit steps that we got? Where's our step plan? Here we go. So we had, for our steps, we had create simple PHP web shell that can execute commands, navigate to the target's /panel directory here, identify and use the upload form in the panel directory to upload the web shell, access the web shell in the uploads directory, test the web shell by executing basic commands to confirm it's successful. Okay. So actually, we have a tool for that as well. So we just needed to keep track of like what it's doing in there. My son started a robotics team I mentioned when I was in high school. And I'm also interested in the different type of technology between a high school senior and a freshman. 3 to 4 years made a big difference. Dial-up, AOL discs. We called them Frisbees. Blockbuster. Oh, dude. Blockbuster. I can't tell you how many times I went to Blockbuster with my dad. And we were just picking out movies. It was awesome. All right, let's go run this again, because now we should be able to just run the exploitation agent by itself. So here's our exploit agent workflow. You go like this. So let's see if we get that index out of bounds. I wonder where that came from, though. Hello, Peach. What's wrong? Why are you so spazzy? What's the matter? What's the matter, Peaches? Get down, baby. Hang on one sec. Oh, it's storming outside. It was storming though. I don't know why she's so. Peaches does not like thunder, which is weird because she used to not give a damn about it, but now all of a sudden, for some reason, she's like, "I don't like the thunder. The thunder is scary." You're okay, Peaches. It's okay. Pal. Okay, so something is happening here. Oh, okay. So while we're in the browser task. Oh, okay. So we are getting index out of bounds. That's fine though, because once we're actually here. Wait, what? What's going on here? So line 52 in the start browser session. Attribute none type object has no attribute. Really? Wait, this is actually in browser. My bad. So line 52 here. Mouse is again all squirrely. I need to actually change this from state because I don't like the way this is doing. So for some reason, this underscore Docker socket isn't coming back like I want it to. Why are you not doing this? Hey, Ken, what's up, man? We went from doing the internet over the phone to doing the phone over the internet, and then back to doing the internet via the phone. Yeah, what sucks is I didn't realize how bad phone conversations were because I just don't use my phone very much until I actually did like a VoIP call where you had proper audio, and it sounded so much different. The compression on phones is on voice packets is so freaking bad. You're okay, Peaches. I'm right here. You're so scared. All right, so for some reason that Docker socket is just becoming a none when this happens. So it's not updating down here. It's never running this. See that? It could also be actually because of the way this loads up. Let's try restarting the server here. So I don't know if it's actually reading on like what's happening with this. I'm going to restart the server and I'm going to try it one more time. Because the way it does some of the dynamic code hot loading means that it might not be recognizing that it's done. Submit. Run again. Because it actually tried to get down into the browser agent and then decided that it didn't want to. Dude, I've never seen one of the 8-inch floppies in real life. Giggity. I used to run like games and stuff off of the 5 1/4-inch floppies, and they were perfectly adequately sized. I was assured it was just the right size, and that the 8-inch floppies hurt. I promise I am an adult. All right. Come on. Do it. You can do it. Okay. Errored on the step processor. Actually, an error on the step processor is not terrible because that means it might have actually gotten through the browser. So let's trace it down real fast. Okay, so step processor line 128. For some reason, it got way out of whack there. So let's see what happens here. So let's trace this down real quick. So the exploitation agent comes through and says, cool. Actually, so it did simplify it. So our new prompt actually did help out with this. Upload a PHP web shell to the panel directory that's going to be stored in uploads, then access it to gain remote code execution. Perfect. All right, so the step planner comes back with create a simple PHP web shell, navigate to the target's panel, locate the upload form, access and upload the web shell, or access the uploaded web shell, test the web shell by applying command parameters. Okay. So that's looking like that is solid. So then our step processor, first one it does is we get the web shell. We're good. That gives us the path back to the web shell. Let's see. Let's go to the step processor again. So the next one is, wait, what happened? Did the revisor fail it? You jerk. So we went through and we modified all the prompts in here to tell it, hey, by the way, stop being so damn complex from the get-go. Because you don't have to add complexity to these exploits in the beginning. They follow the same path, you just tweak it some, right? Think it like, how do you send a rocket to the moon? You build the rocket, you ignite it, you launch it. Okay, those are the main steps. There's a lot of small tasks that go on in there, but we don't want all those tasks to happen just yet. The revisor is supposed to make them simpler. However, whenever we got the PHP web shell, what it did is it just returned a path to this web shell. And then the revisor came back and said, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. We're going to fail. You're killing me, Smalls. Now this is where we're fighting the idiocy of the language model. Let me see. I'm just going to try running this again because it will come up with different steps whenever we do this. It shouldn't have failed in there. Oh, stop. Actually, cancel. Create a new node. Run this one. All right, so we're back in the step processor. All right, so for some reason on the exploit special agent node, we errored out again. Damn it, if it still says it's none, it'll be... What was the one for this? Oh, 1 second. We can't actually see the trace over here. We don't have to swap. None type object has no attribute containers. Damn it. So for some reason, it's not initializing that Docker container in there. Why? Why must you do this? Why? Let me think about this. All right, so unfortunately, the modifications to this, where we set the Docker socket to none, so this is not working the way I had hoped it was going to. I wonder if the problem here is how I'm doing this. What does the run actually return? Return the result? Okay, I bet this is where I'm screwing it up. This probably needs to be the Docker socket. I bet that's probably it. Alright, unfortunately that means I gotta restart the server. To restart the LangGraph dev server. Alright, let's go try running this one more time. Alright, so we've timed out over here. What was the error we came across? If you came back with none type containers, you turd. That peaches. Alright, let me check something real quick here. Yeah. Alright, that's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to edit the config here, and then we're going to tell it, I think it's allow blocking. I was hoping to avoid this, but yes, we can allow blocking in this case. And now what I got to do is go back out all this crap out of here. So you're going away. And then you're going here. Take this out. Take this out. I'm going to revert all this stuff back. You're going away. And this is going to go back to where it was. There we go. All right, and then we can go rerun the server. All right. 1700th time is the charm. Okay, run. Run like the wind. You can do it. You can do it. Peaches. Peaches. Don't lay in your bed. You're okay. Hey. You're inside where it's nice and warm. The big bad storm man is not going to get you. Poor doggy. She's spazzing out. I don't think it's even thundering, and that's usually what makes her upset. I did think it was funny though that, by the way, everybody who came in from the Dueno raid, is usually I will go raid him on Sundays. It's usually because he's like one of my favorite guys to kind of catch up with. And I feel like on purpose, he's like, I gotta end early so he can't raid me and make me stay on for a 7-hour stream or something like that. He's funny. Okay, so we got another error, but this one was in the step processor, which was out of range. That's fine. Let's go look at the execution again. Why the heck are we calling a Python execute? I swear. Why are you calling the Python execute? Why? Why? Of all the tools you've got, you decided I'm just going to go craft my own Python web shell. Why would you do this? Why you do this? Why you know? I tell you, I get no respect from the AI agents. No respect, I tell you. And why do we have 2 language model calls to the reviser in here? This is not right. Hold on. That trace looks funny. What the heck is this? Oh, we had an overload error. Okay. That was legit, actually. Okay, so we did have a validation, even though that's dumb. So then it runs an HTTP GET for some weird reason. What was the task? Access panel to locate the upload form. You're killing me, Smalls. Yeah, because that totally isn't something you want to do with the browser that I spent 3 months building for you. That is the correct path. You absolute nincompoop. Run it again. Do it again. Do it correctly this time. Yeah, no respect at all. I got no respect, I tell you. By the way, from the younger viewers, go look up Rodney Dangerfield. Your life will be enhanced for having seen his stuff. I swear, if you just keep dying on me. Okay. So it keeps trying to, now it's being an absolute butthole and it keeps trying to create the web shell. And are like, you have the web shell. Yeah, dude. I actually now I really want to go look up some of Rodney Dangerfield's stuff now that you mention it. And so speaking of people's reactions to like comedians, it is funny to like see some of them talk, but the reactions can make it like even more so hilarious. Rodney Dangerfield, Dave Chappelle, the reactions that his audience have just makes it extra. It just enhances the comedy of it. And actually, recently I've been watching a lot of Yay Mad over on YouTube, but I just need to like have a good laugh and turn my brain off and like, hoo, that's funny. That's what I'll go watch. And their reactions are hilarious. That's what makes it so dang funny. You're killing me, Smalls. All right. So what's happening here is the step planner is doing stuff like it's spitting out create a basic PHP web shell, and it's taking create a little too literally. I don't need you to create the web shell. What I need you to do, is use the damn web shell I gave you. This would be an example, though. So what's happening here? Let's back it up a little bit more. Is The exploit step processor is basically panicking and not knowing what to do. This would be a time where it would say, hey, by the way, we need to come up and bubble this up to the person, to the human, and have the human in the loop provide clarification. I'm just not sure how I want to do that yet. And also, there's not a really good way to interact with it while we're running the LangGraph server here. So, because this thing, I tried to find a way to like tell it to just shut the heck up and not put all of this output in here. I don't want it. I just want you to go away. I want you to be quiet and only bubble up to like this crap where it's like these errors in it. And now it's not even, now that I think I've got the browser portion at least somewhat figured out, it's not even doing it. It's just being a turd. All right, run again. Do it properly this time. Once teased another IT guy when I was writing a new system. I said, "You're like Rodney Dangerfield of coding." It's like, am I entertaining? Oh yeah, I wrote about 10,000 lines of code this week. But your contribution, that's good. You're the king of the one-liners. Okay, at least we got somewhere now. For some reason, the special agent node had a key error of -1. What the heck is this? This is a new error. Where did we get this from? Hey, actually, it looks like we got somewhere. See that? Oh, look, the browser was actually loading and doing stuff. There's all of our tools for the browser. It's beautiful. I could stare at this for hours. Okay, so what was the actual error that we ran across here? It's okay, Peaches. You're okay. So it looks like that run costs us 6 cents every time we do this. So I think I've burned about $10,000 trying to debug this. Not really, though. All right, let's go see where this is actually coming from. So the error came from, I think, line 52 in the browser wrapper in agents.py. Okay, let's go look in agent. Actually, it's this one right here. Oh, I think this is incorrect. Where's agent messages? Let's see. I don't know what I was doing with this. What was I doing? So this was basically what we're doing is we're basically inserting fake messages that are AI messages as our agent. It's like, here's our agent name. We're using browser session. Blank. Let me think about this. I don't remember how I want to do this. So I remember what I was doing now. So agent messages this is what the browser agent is actually doing. And then we have results coming back where it actually says, hey, this is what it's returning. The particular type of sub agent that this is using only operates on one particular data key, which is the messages key. So what we need to do is basically merge those together when this happens. Any idea why it doesn't know about the existing tooling or exploits available if you provided it? Like, is it just inconsistent? It's pretty much just inconsistent. It's one of the natures of when you're dealing with a probabilistic system, Bobby. So yeah, Kennedy, actually there was. It looked like it finally did use the browser, except we got a coding error in here. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. This should have worked. Let me do a quick test real quick. Let me just make something real quick. So I'll make a list real fast of like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And then I think if I do list plus equals foo in here, and then we look at what list is. List now does have foo in there. So maybe it's this result negative one that it actually doesn't like. Maybe we should just go. Let me try one other thing in here. So what if I do list plus equals? Because result should come back, I believe, as a list. Let me think. Hey, Rich, what's up, man? Yes, so there was, so it actually is working. It got down all the way into the browser agent and had it navigate. It confirmed that the navigation happened. Everything was looking good. And then it went kaflooey, which is, all right, I just got to figure out exactly what this is looking like right here. Does it work now? It's getting closer. We're just clawing an inch at a time, Wrench. Ugh. I gotta remember how I was trying to do this, because the agent execute here, we give it the task, what it's supposed to be doing. I want to say the result that's coming back is going to be the state table. But I need to know what this result is. Actually, hold on. I can tell. Hold on. What am I doing? Let's see here. So this is our input, right? This is our output. Actually, here's our output right here. End. Wait, hold on. So in browser, there's our input. Did we even get any output back from this? No, we don't. Damn it. What about from agent? Does agent actually return anything? So pretty much the only thing it's got left is it has a key called remaining steps and a key called messages. So I think result is going to be a dictionary with agents and messages in here. Let's see, what do the messages look like? So in this case, we had one message. We come back over to the agent. What's the input look like? We have 3 messages in here. Yeah, so I think that's what we want to do. So this is the problem right here. I don't think I want to take the last message out of this. I think what I want to do is grab the messages key out of this guy. Like this. I believe that's what I want to do. Yeah. Does it work? 99%? AI should take our jobs. AI's gonna take my job. No, AI is not even close to taking my job. And so, in fact, AI is not really close to taking anybody's jobs, really. They're overspending on it. And what's funny is, so they're forcing a lot of the AI stuff on the junior developers, right? Or I try to outright replace them. I take that back. What they're doing is they're forcing the AI stuff on the senior developers, which the senior developers have seen enough code and they've worked on it so much they know what good code and bad code looks like, and they already know how to build the overarching architecture and structure of everything that they're going to build. And they're like, well, we don't need junior devs now. I was like, really? Really? What's going to happen when those senior devs go, I'm good. I'm going to go live on a farm because I'm sick of technology, and just deuce out. They just deuce. That's what they're going to do. They're doing this completely backwards. What they should be doing is restricting the AI usage for the junior devs, encouraging it for let's call them mid-level developers, and then more or less kind of mandating it for the seniors. Because then what's going to happen is the knowledge is going to trickle down. The juniors are going to learn how to do things without being overloaded and coddled and baby kitten mittened up to doing things the AI's way. They're going to learn the actual way to do things. And what are they going to do? They're going to read the code from the mid-level developers who may or may not be using the AI, which is going to kind of a Schrodinger's issue there. And then what are the mids going to be doing? They're going to be learning the stuff from the senior developers who are using it and using it properly and using it to good effect, hopefully. And basically that knowledge of how to use that tool effectively is going to be coming in. And then eventually once the seniors cycle out and the mids cycle up and the juniors cycle up, the circle of AI life continues. And they're doing it completely wrong. Instead, they're like, let's just kill the junior developers. I'm like, okay, that's great. Where are you going to get the next crew? These are not people that are going to exist indefinitely. I have a feeling that they're kind of banking like, oh, well, the AI is going to become so good, it's just going to write its own code. I was like, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. I am not a dev by profession, Wrench. I am a professional penetration tester. My job is to go find out where the devs messed up and use it to good effect. Usually it's the Microsoft devs that are the ones keeping my bread and butter fed. Yeah, that's what I like to do. I'm doing this project for fun. So basically, I'm trying to teach this HackBot how to be more or less like a junior penetration tester. And you know what? It's actually being a lot more like a junior pen tester than I thought it would be. Because even though I give it all the tools to succeed and descriptions of what all the tools do, like, hey, by the way, you can use this function to go get yourself a pre-prepared PHP web shell. It's like, fuck you, I'm going to use Python and make my own. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Get help. Okay, let me go try running this one more time. I realize we're like actually overtime for the stream, but it's getting personal. This is getting personal now. It's like, hey, screw your tools. I'm gonna just make my own. Dude, I'm the king of making mistakes, and there's a lot about like code development I don't understand. That was another primary objective from this project, was learn how to write a large code base from scratch. So most everything in this code base I have written. There's been 2 areas where AI actually played a heavy influence, or really any influence. And okay, so we're back in the special agent node with a key error, which is not bad. It's working on the special agent, which is great. That means the dynamic loader worked. That means it is passing execution. That just means now we're actually debugging the agent. I'm good with that. You didn't hotload, did you? You didn't hotload the fix. You. Why you know hotload? Why you know hotload fix? Why do you hate me so much? Yeah, Ringe, I am. Hey, Bubba, what's up, dude? Funny story about Bubba, by the way. That's what I call all my brothers. And that's what I encouraged and kind of taught by repetition for my two sons to call each other is Bubba. And my wife hated it, and now she thinks it's the cutest thing whenever they call each other Bubba. Just FYI, fun little aside there. So my professor at colleges are forcing AI for us for coding help, so we just need to cite our work. Luckily, ChatGPT came out during my second year, so my first year was pure brain power, but some of my assignments required both AI-generated code submissions and the prompt used to create them. I don't goose to that. Bubba, like, B-U-B-B-A, Bubba. Like, he's a good old boy, he's Bubba. And That's just what I call my brothers. That's what they call me. That's what my sons call each other. And so it's largely a southern U.S. thing. Bill Clinton was called Bubba. Was he? I mean, I was pretty young when Clinton was in office. Let's see, what was he? He was, I think, 92 to 2000. So I would have been, let's see. That's when I was from 8 to 16. So I wasn't really paying much attention at that age. All right, we're getting closer. We're still getting the error down there in the special agent node, which is fine. I'm okay with this because that means we're working down the list of like where things should go. Unfortunately, this might be an error for another night. Let's see. What's the error we got here? Let's see. Message dictionary must contain role and content key. Got message, AI message, yada yada. Where did we actually get this from, though? Oh, and add messages? Okay. Yeah, I think that's a problem that's going to be a bit too much for troubleshooting tonight. All right, let me go and terminate this machine. I find it funny they give you 2 hours to do this machine when, if you know what you're doing, you could do it in 3 minutes. If you don't know what you're doing, you could do it in probably an hour tops. But I know that's their default. All right. Let's go find somebody over on the big purple Twitchy site to braid over to. Let's see. Is anybody over on InfoSec streamers? No. I need some more European streamers. So I will eventually, after I sign off, nobody's going to be on InfoSec streams. I would love to see this site have 24/7 coverage. I would really like to have that. And I realize that's going to be adding dozens of new streamers. So that's why I encourage everybody, just hop on and have fun. That's what I do. I hack around and I find out. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Hey, HackBot, thanks for coming online. Oh, you weren't even born when Clinton was in office? It's all right, man. I got the gray. That shows you how old I am. I'm closer to 42 than 41. Let's see. Might we be able to adapt to? Let's see. Who's online right now? Let's see. There's some guy working in an archaeology game. Actually, let me go see who's over in science and tech right now. What do we got? Not a lot of folks on right now. There's some guy on there who's just arguing. Yeah. By the way, if you have any raid suggestions, feel free to shout them out. Is that Pokemon game music? No. This is music from. Let me see if this actually works in here. It should be working in Nightbot. Let me see. It's not. This is music from. There's 2 tracks. One is from a group called Red Siege, and they're another offensive security outfit. They made some. But the bulk of the track is actually from a game called Heartbound, which if you ever watch Pirate Software, that's his game. And he open sourced the music for using on live streams, so that's what I used because I got really tired of fighting DMCA all the time. Let's see. Not that's on right now. We may just do a DJ raid. Let's see, Tay's up doing her DJ set. Actually, you know what? J-Blow's on. I think he's doing Logic Bombs right now. Yeah, that's a good little fun engineer game. We'll go raid J-Blow. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and head out. I think that's where we're gonna do it. You know what 2600 means in the chat? Oh yeah, that'd be a fun one. Add someone to the InfoSec streams. Actually, good question. So if you come over to InfoSec streams, you go to view on GitHub. All you have to do actually is just submit a pull request. All the streamers are over here in the streamer's CSV file. So you come into the streamer's CSV, you just edit it, you add your information. The first column is what is your Twitch name. The second column over here is like if you have a YouTube channel, you can also add that. And so it'll show whenever you're live on Twitch and on YouTube. So all you do is you come edit this, you submit a pull request, and then when it gets merged into the CSV, you're good. Yes, InfoSec streams. Yeah, definitely. You can. If you're not adding yourself, Wrench, though, get permission before you go add somebody on there. All right, guys. Unfortunately, that's where we've got to wrap it up. So do me a favor when you get over into on the Twitch side, drop some Cookie Monsters on there. Drop some Cookie Monsters and hack the planet. Yeah, there we go. Let's get this going. All right, good job. By the way, for everybody, if you're in the US and Canada, happy Labor Day tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful day off. You can use it productively. Get yourself ready for the rest of the week. And for everybody who's out there working, just keep crushing it. I have faith in you. You guys are awesome. You're in here spending your time, obviously, working on learning some more stuff, getting to know folks. That's a great thing to do. I want you to know how much I appreciate everybody coming in also and just chatting, asking questions, having a good time. It's a lot of fun for me. I appreciate it. So, everyone, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up right now. My back is calling me because it is hurting. Thankfully, my ribs are healing up, though. So, we'll be back to it again. Actually, I'll catch y'all tomorrow night. I'm going to do a special stream. We'll play a game or something. We'll just do a quick, fun, chill out AMA stream. We'll have a good time with it. But I think that's everything I got. Oh, wait, I forgot. There is one more thing, and very important I want y'all to remember, which is I love you. Peace.